Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl, Dr. Brandy Nikhil, the Bookish Baddie, and I'm back with another Bookish video. This time, one for nostalgia's sake. If you are a 90s kid, even an 80s kid, this is for you. So, life be lifing, and when life get to lifing, I just want to feel like that younger version of me. Like, I want to be reminded of a simpler time. And sometimes I do that through books. So, today we are going to be exploring how many? Five? Five of my favorite childhood books that still hit today. Let's get into it. So, we're going to start with the classic. Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul. This is my original copy from when I was a teenager, or a kid rather. This is my signature from back in the day. That's how I used to sign my signature when I was a kid. 101 stories of life, love, and learning. My mom gifted me this, and I have never gotten rid of it. And this version was printed in 97. Crazy. So it's almost 30 years old. Okay, so this book, if you were under a rock in the 90s and you don't remember Chicken Soup for the Soul, there were several different versions. Chicken Soup for the Christian Soul, Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul, Chicken Soup for the Mother Soul, Chicken Soup for the Underwater Basket Weaver Soul. There was Chicken Soup for everybody's soul back during this time. Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansberg, and Kimberly Kerberger were the people who put these together. And so it was like you could submit your stories to be included in a Chicken Soup for the Soul book. And they were separated out by topics. So relationships, friendships, on family, love and kindness, learning, tough stuff, making a difference, going for it. And I want to read to you what I remember being my favorite. And it's so cute because I have like sticky notes in here from when I was younger, where I was like, ooh, this stood out to me, or ooh, this made me feel this or feel that. But I want to read to you my favorite poem that has stuck with me since I read this book. You want to hear it? Okay, here we go. So clearly I'm in business about this poem because I got a sticky note. It ain't even got no word on it. I just knew I loved it. And it's in the tough stuff section. It's called Somebody Should Have Taught Him. I went to a birthday party, but I remembered what you said. You told me not to drink at all, so I had a Sprite instead. I felt proud of myself the way you said I would, that I didn't choose to drink and drive, though some friends said I should. I knew I made a healthy choice, and your advice to me was right as the party finally ended and the kids drove out of sight. I got into my own car, sure to get home in one piece, never knowing what was coming, something I expected least. Now I'm lying on the pavement. I can hear the policeman say, the kid that caused this wreck was drunk. His voice seems so far away. My own blood is all around me as I try hard not to cry. I can hear the paramedic say, this girl is going to die. I'm sure the guy had no idea while he was flying high, because he chose to drink and drive, that I would have to die. So why do people do it, knowing that it ruins lives? But now the pain is cutting me like 100 stabbing knives. Tell my sister not to be afraid. Tell daddy to be brave. And when I go to heaven, to put daddy's girl on my grave. Someone should have taught him that it's wrong to drink and drive. Maybe if his mom and dad had, I'd still be alive. My breath is getting shorter. I'm getting really scared. These are my final moments, and I'm so unprepared. I wish that you could hold me, Mom, as I lie here and die. I wish that I could say I love you and goodbye. This wore me out as a kid, but in the best way, because it stuck with me. You know, like it stuck with me, obviously, in terms of like drinking and driving and just being a responsible person, and like the consequences of not being a responsible person. And also it stuck with me in a way that when I picked this book up off the shelf, I'm like, I gotta find that poem about the drinking and driving. Like, I remember it that well, and I haven't opened this book in probably 15 years. I'm not even kidding. Stuff like this is important. We need to bring back these types of books being popular, because it's not that they're not making books like this anymore. These books are still available and they're still relevant, but we're just not hyping them up no more like we used to, you know? Bring back this kind of stuff, especially for the young folks. Next up, if you know me, you know my Goosebumps girl down, okay? I have all of the original, is it 62, 63, whatever. I have the whole collection. I collected them last year, the year before last, and read them all, and I had a blast. Some of them aged very bad. Some of them just are not good. But overall, they kept the vibes, you know? Like, it still feels like Goosebumps. And Welcome to Dead House is the first book in the original series. And it still lands very well. Like reading this, I'm like, this concept is actually terrifying. And so it is about Amanda and Josh think the old house they have just moved into is weird, spooky, possibly haunted. And the town of Dark Falls is pretty strange too. But their parents don't believe them. You'll get used to it, they say. Go out and make some new friends. So Amanda and Josh do. But these new friends are not exactly what their parents had in mind because they want to be friends forever. And Goosebumps cover art is just iconic. And so this book just represents the whole series. If you want to get back into your nostalgia feels, reread the Goosebumps books. I promise it's a good time, if nothing else. Next up is a real classic, and I'm so glad I still have this on my shelf. T. Boz's poetry book, Thoughts. I love this book. And fun fact, the song Unpretty, one of their singles from the Fan Mail album, is a poem of hers that was turned into a song. Poem of the same title, Unpretty. And it starts out, if I were you, I wish we could change shoes because I would make you feel unpretty too. And so if you remember the song, that's how it starts. I wish I could tie you up in my shoes, make you feel unpretty too. I was told I was beautiful, but what does that mean to you? Baby, that was a hit, okay? And again, that goes back to what I was saying with Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul. Like we had, you know, everything wasn't like positive and, you know, forward thinking, but we had songs and books and shows and movies that, you know, spoke to the condition of the teenage angst. Don't make me get on my soapbox, but bring that back. Like, Unpretty was like, you don't let no man make you get no breast implants. Don't let nobody tell you ugly. Don't let nobody bully you. You don't have to be in a gang. Like, they made us stand on business by what we chose for ourselves. So yes, and I think the book is just also beautiful. So like the poetry is great, but it is just a beautiful book. Like the photos, the glossy pages, the art. Look at the girls. Look at the girls. The art for the poetry, like amazing. Amazing. This is a book that I love having on my shelf because this is also a copy that I got when I was probably 12 and I still have it to this day. I also still have Tupac's poetry book too. I just thought about that. But I wonder, is this still in print? I'm gonna look when I get off here and see. Okay, let's go to the next book. Okay, next up, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. This is the book that like taught us the experience of having your first period and somebody growing boobs and the other person not growing boobs, and you know, just like all the things that encompass like that weird girlhood space that's like preteen right into teenage years, discovering yourself. So for Margaret, she is discovering herself through trying to journey through her idea of religion. Like, what religion does she believe in? Because her family has, you know, some different views. Her grandmother, who she's really close to, has a different view than her parents, and she's doing all of this while living in a new town and making new friends. And it just reminds you of that delicate space of girlhood. And it is so good and so worth a reread because it just reminds you of, I don't even want to say a simpler time because that's a complex time, but it reminds you of a more youthful, thoughtful, exciting time in life. Because even though you have a lot of anxiety around these things, it's an exciting time in life. Okay? All right, and the final book that I want to talk to you guys about is one that you likely have not heard of because I've never heard anybody else talk about it, but it's a favorite of mine and I go back and reread it all the time because it just reminds me of simpler days. It just is a book that I've carried with me for years and years and years and years and years since I was a kid, since I got it. Okay, that book is called Babysitting is a Dangerous Job. Love this. So, Babysitting is a Dangerous Job follows Darcy. Darcy is a babysitter. I think she is like 12 or something like that. And she gets a job babysitting 3 kids, and they kind of bad. They're kind of bad, but they're paying her more than she's ever been paid, and she's trying to save up for something in particular. And while she's on the job, her and the kids get kidnapped to be held for ransom from the kid's family because the kid's family got some money. And so she's dealing with, watching the kids, also trying to find a way to escape, hoping that, they get to escape. It is just a really good book. And I have had this since, let's see, did I write? Because I used to write in my books, and I've always been an annotator even before I knew what that really looked like. So let me show y'all something. I used to do this thing where like I considered myself a book critic when I was a kid. So in the very back of the book, I would write my thoughts on the book. And here I wrote magnificent. I thought it was magnificent, apparently. So yeah. And this copy is from 96. Written in 85, but this copy is from 96. And I've had it probably since between 96 and 98. And I will hold on to it for as long as the Lord lets me. So that is another recommendation, just nosy, for nostalgic books that will give you that feeling. What are your favorite nostalgic books? Put them in the comments. I want to hear about them so I can read them too. But all right, until next time, guys, over and out from me and Dewey Devante, the Dalmatian. Love you guys. Bye.